What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about the future of Pokemon in 2026. And since it's Pokemon's 30th anniversary next year, that means this could be one of our biggest years of Pokemon that we've had in a long time. So let's dive into it, shall we? First thing I want to mention is that a lot of things I'm going to mention in this video came from a big leak we had earlier this year. A bunch of data miners got into Game Freak's like code and stuff, and kinda revealed a ton of stuff about the future of Pokemon. So, several things I mentioned in this video aren't officially announced at all, but they're basically confirmed. I mean, we've seen the code of the games, so we know this is confirmed. So, you know, take stuff with a grain of salt is all I'm saying. So, I'm going to be going in the order that we predict the games to be released, either from official information or leaked information. And because of that, the first thing we gotta talk about is Pokémon Pokopia. Oh man, I'm so excited for this game. Like, astronomically excited. And I know, like, you know, this game is officially announced. There's several trailers for it. So, you probably know what the game is. And I've already made 2 videos going into heavy detail on my thoughts of this game. Very excited, so I don't really have too much to say on it, because I already have 2 videos about the current trailers. So, go watch those if you want to hear everything I have to say about this game. But, long story short, you have to rebuild this Pokemon world. There's this Tangrowth, which acts as a professor. And you're a Ditto, you copy abilities. Very exciting. Like I said, since this game already has trailers for it, don't like have too much news to give you, but very exciting. But I actually do have one like new thing to say about the game, and that is this theory has been going around that the game is set in a post-apocalyptic Kanto. And that theory, you may think sounds crazy. This game is supposed to be a cozy Pokemon game. You know, a little bit different from most Pokemon games, but on the cozier side. So why would it have such a dark backstory? But when you think about it, a lot of things point to that. A lot of the things we've seen from the trailers, the area looks like a destroyed Kanto. Like, that matches the towns in Kanto. Just destroyed. And we can already tell that it's some destroyed, abandoned, you know, Pokemon town. And it definitely looks like Kanto. Another reason that might be post-apocalyptic, is that at the start of the first trailer we got of this game, the Ditto, like, scans its trainer, like, tries to copy its trainer, but it does that from a destroyed Pokédex, where it sees a picture of its trainer, and it can't quite get the trainer right because there's dust on it, but that Pokédex isn't just, like, old. I mean, it's been through something big. So, you know, what does this mean lore-wise for the game? We really don't know. But it's very interesting and exciting, and it makes me just so much more intrigued about the game. Another reason that this theory could be true is the fact that the new Pokemon forms we see in the game. The first one is this, like, Professor Tangrowth, and we know from the trailers that this guy is, like, wants to rebuild the town, can't, and when you come along, he's like, great. The other form we know of is a Snorlax that's been sleeping for a very long time. I'm guessing till Ditto wakes the Snorlax up, but it's been sleeping for so long, because there's been no Pokeflute, that moss is on the Snorlax. It's a mossy Snorlax. Another thing we have to talk about is the Pikachu. There's a ghost Pikachu. What happened is this Pikachu now deceased, making it a ghost type, because it sure looks like a ghost Pikachu. And there's a Smeargle, which is covered in paint, kind of acting like it hasn't given itself any boundaries with its painting, and it's been painting for years now, you know? So, there's so much we don't know. So, like, that's the main, like, new information about Pokemon Poketopia, and that is just the fact that there's this theory going around, and just, again, judging by what we know, it was weirdly really probable. So, that is something intriguing and something to look out for. I do also wonder, though, if we will hear anything more about this. Are we just going to get more context clues from future trailers? Or, you know, are they just going to, or will they tell us it? Because they might just not tell us anything about this post-apocalyptic thing, if it's a reality. And when we play the game, we're just going to kind of have to figure it out from there. And it may be kind of a fun twist that they're hiding from us. Next thing we got to talk about is the possibility of a Gen 5 remake. Now, everything we know about this has just come from the major, you know, like, leak, but it's very probable, and the leak basically confirms it, for next year. And because the thing I'm going to talk about after this, it can't really be at the end of the year. We know Pokemon Poketopia is going to be in spring, so that kind of puts it in the middle of the year if it's for next year, which it probably is, judging by the leaks. And because of that, you know, it's exciting, because that means we could be getting 3 major Pokemon games in 1 year, which, it's the best year to do it, because it's the 30th anniversary, you know, like, kind of a big deal. And it'd be really interesting if we got a Generation 5 remake in any way. It's just, I do wonder what approach they're going to, you know, go with it. When we got the Oras remakes, that was basically the same game, except 3D. I mean, there were several differences, but like style-wise, it was, just a 3D, Hoenn. And then when we got the Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remakes, which were not that good, they were very disliked by their style. That chibi art style, really, everyone hated, so they wouldn't do that. So, what kind of style are they going to go for? I think they might go for the Let's Go style. That wouldn't really make sense, would it? And then some people think that we're just going to be getting Black and White and Black and White 2 on the Switch. Like, no upgrade or no, like, remake, just the games. Which, that would make no sense. I do not agree with that, and I would very much hate if they did that. And my personal, like, experience with Black and White is I've always wanted to play back Black and White. And I tried to get into it on my DS, just, like, this is going to sound like, a not true Pokemon fan to say, but I cannot play a Pokemon game without the modern day experience share. I mean, I could, technically, but I won't. I tried to play Pokemon Black on my DS, and I just couldn't. I struggled too much without the modern day experience share. And, I know that's probably not a true, like, fan thing to say. I bet all the Pokemon fans watching this video are going to be like, oh, you fool, I grew up without that modern day experience share. Back in my day. And yes, I know. I'm a new gen guy, my first generation of Pokemon, and I played every generation after that, was Generation 6, Pokemon X and Y. Great generation, one of the reasons I was so excited for ZA, and that is the first game the modern experience share started with. So, the same time Pokemon had the modern day experience share, I got into Pokemon, so, kind of just worked out for me to only experience it. And, I prefer playing on my Switch way more than my DS, but I guess that's probably obvious. So, I do want to go back and play older games, but without it, it's just, ugh. I mean, I can't do it. So, that's why I'm so excited for Black and White. Or remakes, or Generation 5 remake, right? And I want you to know that, weirdly, Generation 5 has a special place in my heart. Out of every generation, I think it introduced the best Pokemon. So, it has the best Pokédex. And, like, hands down, I think that so badly, I really think that, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but, like, that's a very opinion, it's like, it's not like there's, like, any fact, really, it's just, like, a very much, everyone kind of has their own opinion on that. So, yeah, I like Black and Whites, but it just has the most Pokemon that I love, which I guess is obvious, but I really do love it. And the reason I love Black and White so much, even though I've never played the games, I've always wanted to, but experience share, is the fact that I kind of grew up with the anime, sort of. The way I was introduced to Pokemon was a single Pokemon pack. I opened it, I was like, oh, Pokemon, cool. Like the cards, it went from there. But after that one pack, the main way I experienced Pokemon was watching the Black and White anime. And that made me fall in love with so many Black and White Pokemon. I mean, the starters aren't that good, but I love the P-Dove line. And see, everyone will hate me for that, because, like, it's like, like, everyone is like, yeah, it sucks. I love it, because I always love Gen 5. I even love the Elemental Monkeys because of the anime. I mean, one of the main characters in the anime had an Elemental Monkey, and the Grass one, and then I love the Grass one. And then, when my very first Pokemon playthrough, Pokemon Y, I used the Water Monkey. So now I love the Water and Grass one. Don't care for Fire, but the Water and Grass one I love. And because of that, I just love the Pokédex. I even love Pokemon in it that most people don't like. So, it would hold a special place in my heart if Pokemon, remade Gen 5, which they will. And that's great. I'm gonna love that. The one, thing I want to say is, though, I mean, I hope people aren't right about them just remaking the games, because that means there wouldn't be a modern day experience share, just like adding them on Switch. I need the experience share. I know, it's sad, but I do. I just hope that they add it. And we've been talking a lot about me, about, like, my own opinions, but, like, this could be crazy, like, getting a Gen 5 game, something everyone's been wanting for, and we actually got a Gen 6 game before a Gen 5 game, a remake, we got ZA, which is Gen 6, so it's kind of surprising on that part, but, like, it's very exciting that we could be seeing Gen 5 remakes, and I'm very excited for it, but you gotta understand, though, it really holds a special place in my heart. Gen 5, even though I've never played the games, I just love Gen 5, so I've always wanted to experience it, and if that happens, I will finally be able to, and I would love that. So yeah, I know, I'm kind of just, glossing over, Gen 5 right now. I just love it, and I'm happy that this is basically something that will happen. And like I said, I bet you mid-next year, so yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is Generation 10. I know, crazy, right? We're on the 10th generation of Pokemon. 30 years, finally got the 10th generation. Which weirdly makes sense. That means we've been, exactly getting every 3 years, a generation. They've kept up to that, if you do the math. 30 years of Pokemon, that means we should have 10 generations, and yeah, we will, next year. 30 years Pokemon, and 10th generation, because it will be coming out end of next year. And that's so exciting. And we know, weirdly, a lot about the game so far, because the leaks mainly got stuff from this game. Probably because it's the biggest game, so there's the most information about it, I assume. So, yeah, Generation 10 is looking like it's going to be one of the biggest Pokemon games of all time. Like, judging by some of the code we've seen and, like, the leaks we got, that, like, it could be on scale, look-wise, to Expedition 33. I know, you're like, why bring that up? But I kind of compare the games a lot. I've never played Expedition 33, really want to, talk about it in some of my other videos. But yes, and I compare the games a lot because they're both turn-based games. I understand they're very different, but, like, they're still turn-based, so, you know, to get a game that could look, like, as high quality as, like, a AAA, you know, like, new-gen game is going to be very exciting, because we've really never had that before. Pokemon ZA came out, and it's great, but it does not look like a game, you know, for the Switch 2 and a new generation. Of course, it is meant for the Switch 1, it just has a Switch 2 upgrade, but still, I'm telling you, that, you know, having a generation Pokemon game, a Pokemon game at all, that could look as good as it probably will look, is just mind-blowing, because we've never had that before. But it's kind of ridiculous that we've never had that before. Because by now, Pokemon should, and I mean Game Freak should, make their games better. But Nintendo's kind of just hovering over them, not letting them expand. So it looks like Nintendo really did just kind of let the floodgates out, and we're like, Game Freak, make a good game, please. We are allowing you now. And Game Freak was like, we will. And they are, basically. This information we have, judging by, like, the leaks and code we got, like, yeah, this Generation 10 game is going to, like, be, like, amazing. And let's talk about, like, gameplay that we know. So far, we don't know too much, but we do know that riding Pokemon is going to be a big thing in the game. You know, we are going to be able to ride the Pokemon that we catch, basically. You know, we are going to go catch a Gyarados, or a Charizard, or whatever, in the wild, or as your starter, and you can literally ride on it. I also gotta mention that we know the name of the next games. Pokemon Wind and Waves. Which, you know, like, the Wind and Waves are weirdly compared to each other a lot. Like, especially in mythology. Sorry I'm saying it wrong, but you know what I mean. Like, those, like, two things go together a lot, so maybe, you know, we could have, like, ancient, like, story-wise or something, you know, mythology, yes. We could have, like, you know, mythology, you know, like, really encourage this game, because if you don't know, and this is, like, I just know this, that wind and waves, like, storms, you know, are, like, waves and, like, wind. Point is, it's like those two things go together a lot in mythology. And the fact that is the name of the next games means, you know, maybe the next games are going to be heavily mythology inspired. Which, I understand there's a lot of different kinds of mythology, but, like, they could go one way with it, I don't know. That's just, like, you know, my, you know, personal brain thinking, I guess. But these games will probably look amazing. And it's basically going to be, like, an Alola 2.0. Like, you can definitely tell if you've ever played an Alolan game, which I have, you know, Gen 7 game, where, like, it feels like Pokemon wanted to make this game a lot bigger than they could, because they were held back by the DS. So, you know, like, because Generation 10, the stuff we know about it is it's going to be very island-based. Several very large islands, maybe even randomly generating parts of the game one way or another, but, like, this game's going to be massive and exciting and wonderful, and I'm just so excited. You know, like, I don't know what I'm most excited for Pokemon-wise next year. I usually say Pokemon Pokopia is my most anticipated game of next year, but that's because it's the only officially announced game. But, I mean, you know, if I think about it, the other two, you know, Black and White, Gen 10, are basically confirmed at this point. So, you know, which one am I most excited for? You know, you have Pokemon Pokopia, which gives me Animal Crossing vibes, a franchise I've always wanted to get into, never have, now I basically can, but in the Pokemon that I love, you know. But then you have Black and White, which, you know, like, that's weirdly kind of one of the ways I got into Pokemon. It holds a special place in my heart, so of course I'm excited for that. And then Generation 10, which I'm very excited for, but mainly just because it's, like, gonna actually be a AAA, you know, like, new generation, like, game, right? So, you know, it's just gonna look really good, like a Pokemon game that's just, you know, very new era. So I cannot tell you which one I'm most excited for. Like, there's so many options out there. So it's just too hard to pick, and, like, next year is going to be one of the biggest years for Pokemon in a long time. But before I end this video, maybe you could, you know, consider subscribing, leaving a like. Helps out way more than you can imagine. You know, I'm a small creator right now, so just helps out so much. Love it if you could subscribe, basically. But yes, and before I end the video, though, I want to talk about something that we will be getting after, you know, 2026, and that is the next Legends game. And clearly Pokemon loves their Legends games, because they made Legends Arceus. Everyone was like, this is wonderful. Then they're like, okay, well what about ZA? Everyone, great. I mean, at least that's how I feel about ZA. I don't know, like, it's mixed feelings on ZA, but Arceus, everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. So they're, like, Pokemon clearly just, like, loves to make these Legends games, even though they made 2. And it's crazy to think the next one is already in development, which makes sense. You know, it takes a while to make a game, just like, you know, we just got one, now we're already talking about the next. But we did get leaks on it, and this is the final thing we got, like, leaks on, but it's going to be in Galar, which is exciting. I love Galar, you know. I love some other regions more. I don't really have a favorite Pokemon game, I have a favorite Pokedex. You know, I think Sword, or no, ZA. ZA is my favorite Pokemon game. Some recency bias, but it is. So I don't really have, like, a favorite, you know, like, generation, is what I was meaning. So, I love Galar, though. And it's very exciting that we could be getting a Legends Galar. And at least what I've heard is it's going to be set so far in the past, where it's, like, kind of before even Pokeballs were made. And you might be like, how would that work? Well, we're going to have these, like, new things to catch Pokemon with, but it's going to be, like, very, very far into the past, where it's, like, before anything really current Pokemon-wise exists. And that's going to be amazing, because Arceus was amazing that it took place in the past, and we got that great experience. But then ZA comes around, and it, like, completely is opposite of that, where it's like, well, we want a high-quality game, but, like, you know, Arceus. And now we're getting that. We're getting a Pokemon game set far into the past, but it's going to be very high quality, because it's very, you know, new and stuff. You know, in 2027, it may even be 2028. I know, ways down the line. But, you know, that game could be amazing, and I think it's also going to be, like, a main feature of the game that we've heard, or at least, you know, hacked, is that it's going to focus on making weapons of some sort. Bow and arrows, maybe making your own Pokeballs. I don't know, just, like, crafting tools is probably going to be a main part of the game, which is just so exciting. So, like, the future of Pokemon is very exciting, you know? Like, I wasn't overly hyped for Scarlet when it came out. I mean, I love the game. Sword was amazing, but, like, Brilliant Diamond was also kind of, like, meh. So, I feel like ever since ZA, and then ZA and onward, we're just gonna have some bangers. Well, that wraps up this video. Hope you loved it. Remember, like, subscribe. And yeah, I just hope you loved it. I hope it made your day a bit better. Peace out, everyone.